This is the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition. Coming up.
The canal is something that represents for us not only money, but it's part of our identity.
I had the hot stone massage. Either that or I left a couple of empanadas on my back.
Sancocho, which is made only with 3 ingredients, ñame, culantro, and also with chicken.
So sit back and enjoy the trip with Mark Gordon and David Harris.
Morning, David.
Jolly good morning. You were up very, very late this morning.
I know, I'm just like letting my food rest. We are in Panama and the food is just outstanding. We are being treated like kings by the wonderful people at Panama Kosher Vacations. It's like a lovely meal every night. So getting me out of bed at the moment, I need a hoist, I think.
We're staying in one of the old neighbourhoods of Panama City in a lovely hotel, 350 years old, the building called the San Felipe. Our 2 rooms are on an internal courtyard. We're on a balcony. Imagine those traditional colonial pictures of hotels from around the world. Small one, that's what it's like.
Am I far enough away that you can't hear me snoring for once?
I didn't hear anything last night. The reason I mentioned and started off with the you slept in and all that stuff, and this is nothing to do with the San Felipe. In fact, the bed here is phenomenally comfortable. When I travel, I don't sleep, and I'm not looking for sympathy. It's just the way it is. I'd woken up 4 times till 4:30 a.m. So at 4:30, I doom scrolled, I believe the expression is, when I ran out of Facebook, because yes, I'm the Facebook generation. When I actually finished all of the internet, I went for a walk around Panama City. Not all of it.
Just the area we're in.
It is beautiful.
We went for a stroll last night after we arrived here. It's obviously a long flight from Israel, much easier from America, only 3 hours from Miami and 5 hours from New York. Mm-hmm. Sunday night, the area around here was full of revelers, people that live in the area, people hanging around the churches, and plenty of police.
I walked on my own this morning, and we're actually going to walk properly around this neighbourhood in a short while with our tour guide, and you're going to hear that. But we're right in the heart of some of the governmental buildings, and a lot of the police and the barriers that are there are actually surrounding some of the official governmental offices.
It feels very comfortable, very safe around here. This is my first time in Central America or South America, so it's a new experience for me, but it feels like you see in the movies.
The big surprise for me is the extent of the modern city. You were talking about skyscrapers. What number skyscraper town is it in the world?
It's the 45th most skyscraperish city in the world.
Where we are in this older neighbourhood, it's actually distant. One of the beautiful things about this San Felipe hotel is that it's got 2 buildings. There's a main building and an annex, and the annex includes a rooftop bar on the 3rd floor, and 3rd floor doesn't sound that high, but because we're in the older part of the city, everything here is low rise. 360 degrees. There are mountains, there's the sea, the Pacific Ocean. There are islands in the ocean today covered in mist. It looked like they were volcanoes. It was just stunning. And then you turn around, amazing bar, and you see, it looked like a Manhattan, this bank of skyscrapers.
Join us on this podcast where we are going to see more of old Panama and new Panama. We're going to see the Panama Canal, the famous Panama Canal.
As opposed to the other one.
And a lot more food, thankfully.
Right, time for a quiz question. And I say it like that advisedly.
It's like all my isthmuses have come at once.
I wish you a very merry isthmus.
Isthmus. We're talking about isthmuses. We're on the...
You didn't say it right.
Isthmuses.
Isthmus.
It's easy for you to say.
It's so not.
We are situated on the Isthmus of Panama. What is an isthmus?
You can't get it right, can you? That's staying in. Isthmus.
Merry Isthmus.
Yes. We'll give you the answer at the end of the pod.
To talk the latest news in Israel, the Jewish world, and everything in between.
This is the J-Post Podcast. I'm Tamar Uriel-Beery, Deputy Editor-in-Chief of the Jerusalem Post.
And I'm Tzvika Klein, Editor-in-Chief of the Jerusalem Post.
And I'm Sarah Ben-Nun, Night Editor at the Jerusalem Post. Join us as we bring some of the most impactful voices to bring you into what it means to be Jewish, to be Israeli today.
Every week, we bring you with us into the newsroom in every sense.
Stop being so dramatic. This is just our coffee break.
You can find us every Thursday on jpost.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll see you there.
Yalla, bye.
One of the slight downsides of coming to Panama slightly in the rainy season is you need to find some indoor activities for when it's gushing down. And outside at the moment, the heavens have opened and the car park is about to become a boating lake. So we have come to the San Felipe Neri market.
And we are doing so in the presence of somebody that you haven't met yet, who is our tour guide over the next couple of days in Panama City.
Hi everyone, my name is Norris Brandao. I'm a Panamanian tour guide. I'm very honored to receive you in our country so you can know and visit this wonderful place.
Clearly doesn't know us well enough if she's honored to receive us. After 2 days, it won't be the same positive tones. Tell us about this market, its history and what purpose it serves today.
This place used to be our railroad station, back in the 19th century. And right now it has a remodelation, as you see, and it has turned to be right now the vegetables, fruits. This is the side of the vegetable and fruits market. And then on the other side, they have the meat market.
Oh, we haven't even seen half of it yet.
We have to visit that on the other side.
Although we're here with Panama Kosher Vacations, so I'm not sure how much time we're going to spend in the meat market.
They have here many of the things that our listeners, whether they're in the United States or Canada or obviously Israel, will be familiar with. There are normal bananas and normal cabbages, and I think I saw some normal cucumbers. And then there's a whole lot of stuff that, for us, looks really weird. So give us a sample, a taster of things that are Panamanian.
A few of the things that you are going to find in Panama are guava, granadilla, guanabana, also because guanabana, even though it's grown in a tropical, countries, it is something that you are going to find, especially in Panama, like very huge. You can find a 10 pounds one. So those are a few of the options of fruits that we have. Besides that, we have a plenty, amount of mangoes just grown in Panama that you can taste. And also something that is very different from other countries is our pineapples. Our pineapples are going to be the sweeter one. The ones that are taste or receive in other countries might be sour or kind of green. However, the Panamanian pineapple, it's very sweet. So I really recommend everyone to taste pineapples whenever they visit Panama.
And for those of you listening in Israel, the cost of a pineapple in Israel compared to the cost of the pineapple here, you might as well fly out here and the saving you make on the pineapple will cover some of the airfare.
Talk to us about chicken soup.
Well, one of our national dishes that we have in the country is known as sancocho, which is made only with 3 ingredients: ñame, culantro. Culantro is just similar to cilantro, however, it's had a stronger taste, and also with chicken. So you boil the chicken with the ñame, you put the culantro and maybe kind of onion and peppers, and then you get a wonderful and delicious soup.
When we were on our way to this market, you said that your 2 loves as a guide are history and gastronomy. So let's expand the conversation a little bit and talk about the food of this country.
Besides the sancocho, another of the national dishes that we have is rice and chicken, which is totally different from the Puerto Rican one. Puerto Rico, they cook their chicken separate from the rice. In Panama, you're going to find it like mixed already with the rice, and it has olive oils, and it has also a few peppers, onions. So our rice and chicken, it's pretty delicious, and it's something that is only found in Panama. Besides that, we also have patacones, which is made from green plantains. It's like mashed plantains and then fry that. So everyone who visits Panama, they have the opportunity to taste that. And actually today, we're gonna show you a few places where national food, it's kosher too. So it's amazing, how you can taste our gastronomy with a kosher certification. So besides those 2, we also have ceviche. Our ceviche is totally different from the rest of the countries. because it only has like few ingredients, and it has also the habanero pepper, so it's really spicy.
And talking of kosher and habanero, I have managed to pick up some salsa.
Yes,
Some habanero.
De Bocas.
De Bocas habanero salsa in the market with a kosher certificate on it.
Mentioning that, great thing about Panama is that you can find more than 40 restaurants, kosher certified. And besides that, we also have a lot of products that have been already kosher certified. So this is a great place to, enjoy not only the international gastronomy, but also the national gastronomy, keeping up your culture and, traditions.
And if you're self-catering while you're here, come to this market and you can get all your ingredients for your empanadas, your tamales, and some of the beautiful Panamanian dishes that we've already mentioned.
Yes, and everything fresh. Because whenever you get to San Felipe Neri, everything that you're going to find here is really fresh. These people in here, actually, they live here. So they come really early in the morning to provide you with really fresh products that comes from either our highlands or any other parts of the country. Everything is just grown in Panama.
This is Mark Gordon from the Jerusalem Post Podcast Travel Edition. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at MarkDavidPod, or mail us at markdavidpod@gmail.com.
So I used to smoke cigars until that avenue of pleasure was closed off to me.
Thank you, Basil Faulty of Faulty Towers. The reason Mark has made this apparent non sequitur is that the wonderful Norris has taken us through a beautiful part of Panama City. We've seen some of the founding fathers in statue form. We've understood something about the French connection. We'll maybe talk a little bit more about that soon. But Norris, you brought us into...
This is La Casa del Habano, like Habano House. This is a very historical place in Panama because we have Mr. Luis Enrique here, a 92 years old man who has been doing this job since then.
Thank you very much indeed for allowing us into your emporium. When did your relationship with tobacco begin?
En el negocio del tabaco llevo más de 30 años.
So in the Habano business, they have more than 30 years.
Is Habano from Havana?
Yes. Directamente de La Habana.
So are all the cigars from Cuba, or is there a Panamanian cigar as well?
Okay.
From Cuba.
We handle 27 brands, all of them high-end Habanos, all handmade, and they are considered premium level. Nobody competes with the Habano. It has everything, because of the weather and the river, everything of the nature.
Cuba, de Pinar del Río.
Is there a cigar smoking culture in Panama?
Sí, consumen.
El Habano, for example, culture, it's something that remarks like the different levels of society in a country. For example, in Panama, this is more practiced by wealthy people because it's a premium product.
Can our American listeners take the cigars back to America?
They are known as our main customers because this is considered as a prohibited product where they live. So it's very easy in Panama to get or buy that product. So meaning that they can buy that from here and take it back to their country. And also, as you see the store in here, they can also have and taste the Habano here.
What sort of prices are you talking about for the different cigars?
So they start at $13 and they could go up to $500.
500 cada uno.
And people just burn $500 literally like that.
Cajas que valen $3,000.
There are boxes that their cost is $3,000.
If you're going to sit and smoke a nice Cohiba, in here, there's also whiskies available.
Sí.
Which whiskey goes with a Cohiba?
Macallan, the best one. Macallan is a product that is linked to Cohiba, and it's sold pretty well here in our store.
What's your favorite cigar?
Me gusta mucho Montecristo, es el más vendido.
Montecristo is my favorite, and
es la segunda brand.
It's the second brand, pretty well sold in here.
Thank you.
Gracias.
outside of Buenos Aires, where would you recommend visiting?
Tell us why you've got a passion for Jewish history as an author.
Is there something unique here that you won't see anywhere else in Georgia or even the world?
Why on earth would you take this incredible boat and launch it in Israel, of all places?
Has David Hasselhoff been to the David Hasselhoff Museum?
You're listening to the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition with Mark Gordon and David Harris. So that was cigars, and we should say because of the rain, we're recording using a telephone, so we apologise if the quality is not as good as normal. Norris, you've brought us from cigars to one of the things for which Panama is best known.
Yes, Panama hat.
Even though they're not made in Panama originally.
Well, actually, the one that I'm going to show you is our Panamanian real hat. So the one that is made here in Panama. So everything just starts with this wood, base. What the women in here, because the women are the ones that saw this, so they take the size of your head, the diameter, and they have craft wood, which you'd be used as the base, and
so they have different size blocks of wood.
That is how they have different sizes. So meaning that this one could be for small heads. Then they go to the river because this leaf, this plant in here, which is the hat made from, is known as toquilla. So that plant, it's grown, within the river. It's green when they take it out from the river, and then they start boiling it until they get that smoother. They dry it for around 3 days, and this is how it finished. You see that it's white. So in order to get the black color, they put it underground also for 2 days or more. Once they get the 2 type of colors from the toquilla, then they take the wood base. They do like the trenza, in Spanish is known as trenza. As you see, they start
plaiting.
Yeah. So they start doing that like an entire one only single thing. And then when they finish that, they start sewing that like in a circle one. As you see, they start doing it. They put black, white, black, white, black, white until they get the final.
Looking at this, as you see the development, we should say that we are in a hat store, which is where we're looking at this, and we'll have a couple of questions about the hat store in a minute. But you're almost seeing what begins to look like a snail, the way it's round. Then it becomes almost like a kippah that Jewish men wear. And finally, it begins to look like a white and black fez. And then you build the brim.
Exactly. It could take a month. For example, I remember my grandma doing this, and only the single line, it could take like a few weeks, and then start creating the entire hat could take 30 days. Based on the time they spend and the quality of how tight they sew that will give you the price of the hat. So talking about the prices, you could find prices starting at $40, $50, which are going to be shipped one like this one, up to $500 a hat.
If I think of a Panama hat, I think of what looks like a fedora hat. It's a plain cream-colored hat with a black band around it. But that's not really the Panama hat, is it?
No, that is the one made in Ecuador with the same plant, toquilla. And it was, famous thanks to the president by that time, Theodore Roosevelt, when he went back to the U.S.
In the middle of this store, there is a fine mannequin of Roosevelt.
And that's why he was the one who made Ecuador Panama hat really famous, and that's why everyone knows that as Panama, because he was coming from Panama when the canal was inaugurated.
This store is El Guayacano, and it's next to the cigar store. One thing in common is that there are bottles of Macallan at the back of the store.
Yes, and it's because, as you see, everything just, gets together. At least in Panama, you take an Habano, you drink Macallan, and you wear a Panama hat. But the fedora one.
That's the store. Tell us about what you can see as above your head as you walk along this beautiful little street.
The owner of Guayacano's store, in the past, there were not so much people walking in the street. So he had this great idea to copy what you see in Cartagena or in Colombia, that they had umbrellas on the top of the road. So he asked every neighbor who lives near to the store to donate one of the hats, and they start creating the hat roads. That is how it is known nowadays. And this was a great idea because right now you have a lot of tourists coming just to take pictures, and by the way, they come to the store.
Discover the future with Inside Israeli Innovation. I'm Eve Young from the Jerusalem Post, bringing you exclusive insights from Israel's top innovators. Each week, we dive into the latest trends in tech, business, and beyond with interviews from the brightest minds in the industry. Whether it's cutting-edge startups or revolutionary tech breakthroughs, Inside Israeli Innovation is your front row seat to the startup nation. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform and stay ahead of the curve. Inside Israeli Innovation, where innovation meets inspiration.
Everything started in 1501 when the Spaniards conquistadors reached to the Americas. They came from the islands that are located in the Caribbean side. So remember that Christopher Columbus was looking for a new way to get to the India, and he found this beautiful continent that he named America, America Vespucio. So he came from the Caribbean side and he got to Panama. However, he thought that he reached the Indians. However, he met the Americans, Indigenous people in here, well known as the Caribe Indians, well, Indigenous. The first city that was established here in the land was known as Santa Maria la Antigua del Darién, located at Darién province, which is doing border with Colombia. That was in 1501. However, Pedrarias Dávila, who was an old Spanish man, he just suffered of allergies, and he decided or asked permission to move the town by that time to this new place known as Panama Viejo. Today is known as Panama Viejo. This is our first old city. So this city was established in 1519 by Pedrarias Dávila. By that time, he had a really bad situation with Vasco Núñez de Balboa, who was the Spanish conquistador, who viewed for the first time the south of the country, or the Pacific Sea. Since they have their bad things together, he moved here to the Panama Old Town, Panama Viejo, in 1519.
Before Mark asks the next question, just want to say, in case you can hear those noises in the background, we're in a church which is being refurbished, and we'll get to the church and its story in a few minutes' time. Mark?
You mentioned Panama Viejo, but this isn't Panama Viejo, is it? What happened to Panama Viejo?
The first old city that we have in Panama, known as Panama Viejo, was first established in 1519 by Pedrarias Dávila. That was attacked by the English pirate Henry Morgan in 1671, and the governor by that time, before seeing the city in the enemy's hand, he decided to burn the powder building, and this is the reason why the entire city just got burned. So since everything was destroyed by the people in that time, then the Spanish crown asked them to move the city to a pretty safe place. This is when they find this peninsula 8 kilometers away from the original place, and they start establishing the new city that you know today as Casco Viejo 2 years later in 1673.
Even though Casco Viejo means old city, this was the new old city.
Exactly. So this is considered as our second old city.
That reminds me of New College in Oxford, which was built in the 1300s.
We've walked around Casco Viejo, and the architecture is beautiful. You've got the colonial Spanish buildings. You can see the touch of the French, of the Americans throughout the quarter that it is. I was going to call it a city, but it's more of a quarter. There's even a square called French Square or France Square.
French Square. It is known in Spanish as Plaza de Francia, so it's French Square.
So what's the significance of the French to this part of Panama City?
Our first president, Manuel Amador Guerrero, in 1924, decided to build, this square in honor to the first man who had the idea to build a canal through our country. And this man was Ferdinand de Lesseps, who was actually an architect, not an engineer. He was the one who designed the Suez Canal, and he brought the idea to the Colombian people by that time to create or build a canal through the isthmus. He thought that he could do the same thing here in Panama. However, he found with a lot of issues by that time, not only the malaria and the yellow fever from the mosquitoes, because by that time they just found a rainforest. Besides that, they spent a lot of money trying to do excavations and trying to do a single canal. However, it didn't work, and this is when they just decided to retire from the project.
Much more on the canal to come, but
as David mentioned, we're in a church, the Church of San Francisco de Asís, and this is one of 7 churches in Casco Viejo. Tell us about some of these churches.
Most of you know, one of the main missions of the Spanish crown, by that time, is that before building an entire town, the church needs to be built first. When this Panama Viejo was already fired, the Spanish crown asked the people by that time that they have to build a church first before the people could move. So the first church that was built here is the one that we're going to visit in a while, which is known as Santa María la Antigua, known as the main cathedral here at Casco Viejo in 1673. This church that we are located right now, San Francisco de Asís, was the 3rd church that was built.
Definitely worth a visit because it's been recently restored. It's beautiful with whites and blues. It's a very bright church, and there's even a cafe and an art gallery in here.
As we've been going around this old district, you've talked about religion, you've talked about the indigenous people. We've also talked in the day that we've got to know each other about modernity and where religion and culture fits. Paint a picture for our listeners.
Some of the features that you will find in Panama is that since we are a transit country, you're going to find a lot of cultures, races, religions in here, everything just mixed. And for Panamanian local people, this is so natural that we respect each other, meaning that we have Jewish community, we have Muslims, we have Catholic people, we have people from every kind of culture from many different countries around the world living in Panama because they feel that this is the best place where they get respect and they can practice their religion and their culture with no secret.
Panama Fact File. The national airport is the Tocumen International Airport in Panama City. Panama's flag carrier, Copa Airlines, connects Panama with the Americas, flying to over 80 destinations, including US cities such as New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Miami. They also fly to Toronto and Montreal. There are currently no direct flights to Israel, but connections can be made with Air Europa, KLM, Air France, United, Iberia, and through El Al codeshares. American, Delta, and United also fly to Panama City from multiple US cities. To reach Boquete, Copa fly internally from Tocumen to David International Airport. Getting from Tocumen Airport to the city centre takes around 20 minutes by car. The city's metro system has recently extended as far as the airport too. There are shuttle buses from the airport to the downtown, as well as taxis available at the entrance to the terminal. You can also use rideshare apps. Panama City has a metro, public buses and taxis. Uber is available as well. We stayed at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in Panama City's financial district and the San Felipe Hotel in Casco Viejo. Most major luxury chains are represented here. For a touch of history, try the Central Hotel in Casco Viejo. Hotels in Boquete tend to be a mix of estate hotels and villa suites. We stayed at the Villa Alejandro, close to Chabad. The currency in Panama is the Balboa.
which is linked to the US dollar. Most shops accept US currency. Panama has a hot and humid tropical climate with a long rainy season from May to January and a short dry season from January to April. The climate of Boquete is cooler than that of the lowlands of Panama City. Panamanian cuisine is influenced by Spanish, African and indigenous flavours. Common ingredients include rice, beans, yucca, plantain, corn, meats and seafood. Sancocho is a chicken soup with yucca, plantain and root vegetables. Try the Ropa Vieja shredded beef in tomato sauce. Delicious. There is no shortage of kosher cafes and restaurants in Panama City. Latest estimates are nearing 50 establishments. Details at kosher.com.pa. We visited Adama, Blame Kiki, Lula, Aria, Spice Market and Aroma to name a few. There are also a plethora of kosher shops and supermarkets. Even in the mountains of Boquete, you can find kosher meals at Morton's Bakehouse. Chabad will deliver kosher meals to your hotel. Panama Kosher Vacations can plan a whole 100% kosher itinerary for your visit to Panama. Check them out on Google.
We've finished our walking tour of Casco Viejo, seeing 3 or 4 really magnificent churches, and in 2 of them there were large grotto scenes of Bethlehem, fantastically large. Everybody's used to like a nativity scene with the baby Jesus, a couple of wise men, Joseph and Mary, small displays. Some of these take up 20, 30 meters, really, really big displays. And it's a thing in Panama at Christmas to try and have your nativity scene as big as possible. And talking of Bethlehem, we've decided to take the cuisine of Bethlehem, the cuisine of Israel, and come to another kosher restaurant that fuses Israeli and Panamanian food.
We're in another of the 40 plus kosher eateries in this city. This one is called Lula. What are you eating?
So I've taken the traditional pita, and it contains a dish called, excuse my pronunciation, Ropa Vieja, which means old clothes. And it's essentially shredded beef and deep fried bananas.
You're enjoying it?
I'm loving it. But the pita really finishes it off, giving it that Israeli feel.
So you said bananas. Is this bananas or plantains?
No, it's actual bananas. They're sweet bananas. We'll do plantains at another restaurant, I'm sure. But no, this is deep fried bananas. Would you like some? There's not too much meat juice on it.
No, I'm fine with my fries. My chips are crinkle cut, which I absolutely love. And I've got a burger. Now, this burger has got no pretensions about being pseudo meat or anything like that. It is a couple of deep fried slices of aubergine eggplant with veg, ketchup, and my favourite thing so far is the lemonade. We've got Norris here. I'm going to ask you as well, what are you eating and what's it like?
This is one of my favorite dishes here, hummus. With this is shawarma, so this is a chicken hummus with the pita pan in here. This is my favorite one.
I now have a mouthful of shredded beef. We are only going to stop briefly at Lula, and then we're going on another tour.
Hi, this is David Harris from the Jerusalem Post podcast Travel Edition. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at MarkDavidPod, or mail us at markdavidpod@gmail.com.
You can probably hear a lot of noise around us at the moment. We are at the Miraflores Locks next to the Panama Canal. We're going to see one of the wonders of the world, well, a modern wonder of the world.
IMAX.
Morgan Freeman.
Hosting a story about the Panama Canal.
Indeed.
We're being hosted by a much more significant person who is Joanne Quiros, our tour guide for the Panama Canal experience, and she's also with Panama Kosher Vacations. Joanne, you gave us a 40-minute lecture on the way over here. You're now going to reduce that to a couple of minutes.
Hello, I'm Joanne. It was a pleasure to meet you. You are a very nice guys in here that I met.
Okay, that's the end of the interview. Thank you very much.
However, completely wrong.
No, I'm so happy that you are here in Panama, happy that you are enjoying and wants to see one of the wonders of the world. This is the modern 7th position of the engineering for the technology who was used during the construction of the canal in the 1900s. Right now, we are in the line to go to see the movie that is narrated by Morgan Freeman, and then after we are going to see one boat who is going to pass through the locks and see how all this technology works. First, we are going to see the information, and then we are going to see the action outside in the canal.
We're just about to be handed some 3D glasses. What a lot of fun.
A canal voyage demands navigation so precise that Panamanian pilots with years of experience board every vessel. A ship's captain cedes command to the specialist, who knows every inch of the route ahead.
We've enjoyed the very, very soothing tones of Morgan Freeman describing the history of the Panama Canal in the wonderful IMAX cinema, learning everything from almost like the beginning of creation around here until 5 years ago when the whole modern revamped version of the Panama Canal opened. And we're still with Joanne. Can you get something kosher for the cinema? Can you get a kosher meal or kosher food at the canal?
We have inside one cafeteria that it's kosher, and they have a Haval Israel milk, and also they have the ice cream for kids. In here, if you are in a busy time, is if a Friday, a few hours before Shabbat, you can have your lunch, enjoy the canal. We not worry about the food.
Let's get into a little more detail. We've come down to the Miraflores locks of the Panama Canal. This was built in 1913.
We've not really talked a bit about the history of this place. Take us back 130 years.
This area here was completely dry. It was not river. And many persons think that the area of the canal was a huge river that they just canalized and made the canal, and it was not like that. Right now we have 3 bridges to cross to the other side in the country. We have a jungle who is in the middle of one city that I like it because a lot of animals are just in the middle of the city. A lot of people, Panamanians, they get benefits, they work at the canal. They get one of the highest salary that we have in this country. Of course that the work is not easy. Many of the machines that they use to work here is not exist in any other part of the world. And it's fantastic. Every time that I came here, it's always occurs something different. I don't know if it's the person or if it's another captain using the horns and we just waving, or if it's a cruise ship who is passing by. Every single day is different here at the Panama Canal.
Jimmy Carter, the US president, is a hero for Panamanians. Why?
In my perception, he was. He just recognized the identity of Panama. He saw the pain, the suffer, what Panamanian was experienced.
That's because the canal, even though it was in Panama, was in American hands. And beyond that, you weren't even allowed to come near to the canal or even cross the canal.
It was like that. It was restricted for many Panamanians. It was just a few group of Panamanians who was allowed, and more for servant, the ones who was painting the house, something like that, but not many, big job inside the channel. So right now we are free to go all around the canal, and we don't have any more these fence that divide us in 2 pieces. Now we can go back and forth west to east and visit our family with no problem. And we still have Americans who live in Panama since the time of the canal that live inside or outside the ex-canal zone areas, and we don't have any issue with that. They are very welcome if they share our culture, if they just want to be part of us as a country. That is something that I treasure a lot because I have one uncle that is from the United States. I cannot say something bad about him or his friends. They are very nice. It was just that some rules was not matched with Panama.
At the viewing gallery, we got a chance not only to see a ship going through some of the locks, but there seems to be like an ecosystem around the canal, birds flying around the canal. Can you tell us something about the birds that are flying and why they are here?
Well, right now we have a group of 3 different birds, especially the fragata in Espanol. This bird waiting for the water change for one of the steps to the other one, because inside in the water there's a bunch of fish that they get dizzy for the move of fast in the water, and they just are waiting for food. the sushi bar.
It's not only fish that have been in the water. There was one person back in 1926. What's the story?
Richard Halliburton, a swimmer. This guy was adventurous. He won't commit any other task before the canal. And he came one day suddenly and he asked for the permission to go through the canal. Everything that go through the canal have to pay. He just accepted, like how much it was. He was to the scale. He was 135 pounds, and he was charged with the minimum fee in the history of the Panama Canal, 36 cents of dollar. Normally today, one boat regular who go through the canal have to pay around $300,000 to go through the channel. We have even boats that paid $1 million to go through the canal. Right now, not allowed to anybody else to swim the channel.
So how did Richard manage? Did he do okay?
He was swimming and he found two friends in the water, two crocodiles. That is one of the reasons why it's not allowed to swim in the Panama Canal, because it's not only birds, not only fish, but also crocodiles, snakes and monkeys and many other animals around the Panama Canal. And in the water, it's some animals that are not original from Panama. It got introduced, and these animals have been there alone. They're the king. They don't have the predators, and it's a bunch of them right now in the water.
Miraflores Lock is at the end of the canal near the Pacific. How many locks are there on the canal, and is this the only one you can go and see, or if you're a fanatic about canals, can you work your way up the whole canal?
Depending where you start. If you started and you came with your cruise from the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific will be the end. But if you started here in the Pacific, if you came from Asia, this will be the beginning of the canal. It takes 8 or 10 hours to go through the channel for most of the boats. It can go through a day, maximum of 40 boats. Right now, I believe that is 36 boats at this time of the year for the amount of water who is in the lake, because sometimes the elevation of the water, it's higher or lower for the dry season or the raining season. Right now is the transition between dried to wet. 36 boats by now, I believe. 18 hours is the waiting time for most of the boats in the bay. They have to wait for 12 hours, and then the other 10 hours going more around.
And that's with a new canal, a parallel canal. There's still that huge waiting list. So I'm right, there's 3 locks at one end and 3 locks at the other end, right?
That's correct. Double lane and 3 steps. So in general, there are 6.
When we were coming here, and you talked for a long time and gave us a really detailed, fascinating history, you got a bit emotional at the end about the connection between the Panama Canal and Panama.
The identity. We are part of the Panama Canal, and we have no idea what to do without the canal, because it's part of us. The canal is something that represents for us not only money, but it's part of our identity as a country. We grow as a country with the canal. The canal have almost the same age since the started of construction until the inauguration and the transpass of the canal from U.S. to Panama hands. Panama Canal is something that we don't want to lose just for decisions that it's about money. We just want to share. We just want to be a group of people happy.
So, Mark, how's your Chilean Chardonnay?
It's cold and slightly sweeter than one would expect, but very, very nice.
Listening to a guy on social media at the moment, he plays a 3-year-old child with a girlfriend by the name of Chardonnay.
You're supposed to be listening to me. The whole point when we go out for dinner is you listen to me and you put your phone down, David.
The place that we got this bottle of wine, which was very nice, is called Blame Kiki.
It's called what?
Blame Kiki. I have absolutely no idea.
Is blame a word?
Blame. So I looked it up. It is not, from everything I can tell, a Spanish word.
No, I think the restaurant is called Blame Kiki. It is in the U Tower opposite the Hilton. It is a Italian-style restaurant. It is milky and Chalav Israel and very kosher.
The decor is amazing. I think it probably draws in more younger people, certainly on the basis of the folks who were in there dining tonight. Full house, a bit of neon, pink, lots of lovely phrases on the walls. The washing area around the toilets, the bathrooms was funky.
Oh, I've not been to the toilet yet. I've been told that the toilets are one of the highlights of the restaurant. I'm not sure they would want to sell the restaurant like that, but I'll go in a minute.
And trees with beautiful lighting, white to pink lighting. It's very nice. It's very special.
I love pink neon. To me, it says subtlety.
What have you ordered so far?
I've ordered a lovely bottle of Chardonnay. I've got my mozzarella bites in front of me, and I'm waiting on my Caesar salad.
I've got a pumpkin stuffed ravioli in a very rich cheese sauce. And our waiter, what's his name?
Jeffrey.
So Jeffrey is coming over. He doesn't speak much English, but he's got a lovely smile. All our waiters have been very, very attractive young men so far. He's bringing over your salad, and I sincerely hope that is that is a salad meant for 10 people.
I ordered a plate of salad. Jeffrey is now approaching with a tray of salad. It looks lovely, but it's not just for me.
I think that's why this place is called Blame Kiki.
Yeah, Kiki's not good with the quantities.
Highly recommended.
One thing about Blame Kiki, I didn't see the kashrut sign anywhere. Everything we're going to is kosher, and at the bottom of the menu it did mention that the products are Halav Yisrael. Because it doesn't say it's kosher, the clientele here, they don't even look Jewish, to be fair.
What does looking Jewish mean, Mark?
So last night we were in Adama, which was a kosher meat restaurant with a Hebrew name. Everybody that came in looked Jewish. There were kippot. The ladies had their heads covered. Tonight I didn't see a single skull cap until our guest who joined us for dinner, who we met in the synagogue earlier, Nissim, came in. He was the first Jewish-looking guest.
We didn't interview Nissim, but we should say a couple of words about him.
Nissim Bassan is an artist. He was born in Panama. His family were, I think, in the fashion business, and he eschewed that to become an artist. So he gave up a life of business to become an artist, and he will be touring the world with his exhibitions, coming to Israel in 2027, but I think this year he'll be in Colombia and then he'll be in Washington. His name is Nissim Bassan, and he's a very, very lovely person.
Let's take a break.
The chairs here are quite funky. They're tartan, and embroidered on the back are some pictures of foxes with monocles.
We've opened a fine rosé from the Pays d'Oc region of southeastern France.
To stand in front of the Birth of Venus by Botticelli and just take it in.
Turning their backs on these magnificent architectural wonders, and all they want to do is have that Instagram moment.
I listened to the guide for 2 minutes while I was on Wikipedia.
You're listening to the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition with Mark Gordon and David Harris.
Wake me up.
There is nothing better than either starting or finishing a trip with a massage.
Having one every day.
Then it doesn't become so special. We've been staying in the wonderful Waldorf Astoria in the central part of Panama City. It's the second hotel we've stayed in over the last few days here in Panama City, and we've been lucky enough to be treated to a couple of massages. Which did you have?
I had the hot stone massage. Either that or I left a couple of empanadas on my back.
I went Swedish, and it's great. It was fabulous. So relaxed, so ready for the journey home now.
It will be a shame to say goodbye to this hotel with its lovely sea view from the 16th floor. Did you have a sea view, David?
I was only on floor 12. No. Gorgeous suite. Shall we say our usual round of thank yous?
Yes. Thank you, David, for being my friend. See, I haven't said that for a while because I fell out with you.
I never say it for you.
Notice that,
It's
actually.
not a nice human being.
Yeah.
No, I'm just honest.
I'm never going to say I love you again if it's unrequited.
We've had an amazing, amazing experience in Panama City. There was the kosher story. There's the city itself. Of course, we also travelled to Boquete out in the tropical cloud forest. And there were a lot of people who helped us along the way.
Let's start with the wonderful people at Promtour, which is the national tourism organisation, also known as Visit Panama. That would be Salo and Salo, everybody else in the office, the wonderful people at JPR Public Relations who have helped make this trip happen.
Thank you to Panama Kosher Vacations, to Ceci, to our fabulous guides in Panama City, Joanne and Norris, to our driver, Libardo, Merry Cruz and Yorelis in the office.
Quiz question. We asked you about isthmuses.
Isthmus.
None of our guides said isthmus, by the way.
Because they only mentioned the word once, and they did it in Spanish.
Well, I'm doing it in sort of Spanish. It's like Anglo-Spanish, so it's isthmus.
It's Latin.
Amo, amas, amart, amamus, amartis, amant. That's Latin.
Adamant.
I think we're going off subject here. Anyway, what is an isthmus, David?
An isthmus is a narrow land bridge connecting two much larger areas of land with water on both sides of that strip. So in other words, the Isthmus of Panama connects North America to South America.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
With a great big canal in the middle of it.
Correct.
It in two.
So I wish you a Merry Isthmus.
And a Happy New Year. I'm going to say this once. If you haven't thought about coming to Panama, and you've listened to all our podcasts now, there is no reason not to come to Panama, especially if you want a kosher holiday. This place is amazing. Join us in the future for further adventures around the wonderful Jewish world with Mark and David.